Before starting the video, I'd like to share a quick message. The channel is new, and we need subscribers to keep it active. Please subscribe and help us continue bringing you daily videos here. In the early years of the 1950s, the American automotive industry was undergoing a profound transformation. The trauma of World War II had finally given way to optimism, economic expansion, and a renewed fascination with technology, comfort, and status. Automobiles were no longer merely transportation, they were rolling symbols of success, progress, and modern living. In this crowded and fiercely competitive environment, dominated by giants like General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, the Nash Ambassador of 1951 emerged as a quiet yet remarkably sophisticated contender. Though largely forgotten today, the Nash Ambassador represented one of the most advanced interpretations of luxury, safety, and efficiency in post-war America, often anticipating trends that would only become mainstream years later. Nash Motors had long positioned itself differently from the Big Three. Rather than chasing sheer size or brute horsepower, the company emphasized engineering innovation, structural integrity, and intelligent design. By 1951, Nash had already established a reputation for building cars that appealed to educated, professional buyers, people who valued refinement, reliability, and thoughtful engineering over flashy excess. The Ambassador was the pinnacle of this philosophy, serving as Nash's flagship model and its most complete expression of what a modern luxury car could be. One of the most defining aspects of the 1951 Nash Ambassador was its aerodynamic body design. While many American cars of the era still relied on upright grilles, heavy chrome, and boxy proportions, Nash embraced smoother lines and integrated forms. The Ambassador featured a low, flowing profile that reduced drag and improved fuel efficiency, an unusual priority in an era obsessed with power and size. This design philosophy was heavily influenced by aviation research conducted during the war, and Nash was among the first manufacturers to apply such principles systematically to production cars. The body itself was unitized, meaning the frame and body were integrated into a single structural shell. This unibody construction was far ahead of its time in the American market, where body-on-frame design still dominated. The result was a car that was lighter, stronger, and more rigid, offering better handling and reduced vibration. This structural integrity also enhanced safety, a concept that Nash took seriously long before it became a major selling point across the industry. Inside, the Nash Ambassador 1951 offered a level of comfort and quietness that rivaled, and in some cases surpassed, more prestigious luxury brands. The cabin was designed as a sealed environment, with careful attention paid to insulation, door seals, and airflow. Nash marketed this feature as weather-eye ventilation, a system that allowed fresh air to circulate throughout the cabin without drafts, noise, or the intrusion of exhaust fumes. At a time when many cars relied on simple vent windows or open cowl vents, this system felt genuinely modern. The seating arrangement reflected Nash's commitment to practicality and comfort. Wide bench seats, often upholstered in high-quality fabrics or leather, provided generous room for passengers. Legroom and headroom were exceptional, even by American standards, and the flat floor design, made possible by the unibody structure, enhanced overall space and comfort. This made the Ambassador especially appealing to families, executives, and long-distance drivers who valued fatigue-free travel. Under the hood, the Nash Ambassador was powered by a robust inline-six engine, a configuration that Nash refined to near perfection. While competitors increasingly pushed V8 engines as symbols of prestige and performance, Nash continued to develop its six-cylinder engines for smoothness, durability, and efficiency. The Ambassador's engine delivered ample torque for relaxed cruising, strong mid-range acceleration, and impressive longevity. It was not a car designed for drag races, but rather for confident, effortless driving at highway speeds. The engine was paired with either a manual transmission or Nash's innovative Hydromatic-based automatic transmission option, which provided smooth and predictable shifting. Combined with the car's aerodynamic shape, this drivetrain allowed the Ambassador to achieve respectable fuel economy for a luxury car of its size, a point Nash proudly emphasized in its advertising. In a period when fuel was cheap and efficiency rarely mentioned, Nash quietly appealed to buyers who appreciated long-term value and sensible engineering. Driving the Nash Ambassador 1951 revealed a character distinctly different from its contemporaries. The steering was light but precise, the suspension tuned for comfort without excessive float, and the overall ride remarkably composed. Road imperfections were absorbed with ease, and the car maintained stability even at higher speeds. This was not accidental. Nash engineers invested significant effort into suspension geometry and weight distribution, ensuring the Ambassador felt confident and predictable on both city streets and open highways. The dashboard and controls reflected a restrained, functional elegance. Rather than overwhelming drivers with excessive chrome or gimmicky styling, Nash opted for clarity and usability. Gauges were easy to read, switches were logically placed, and the overall layout emphasized driver comfort and visibility. This understated approach contrasted sharply with the increasingly flamboyant interiors emerging from Detroit, reinforcing the Ambassador's identity as a car for discerning buyers rather than trend chasers. In terms of safety, the Nash Ambassador again demonstrated forward-thinking design. Its unibody construction provided superior crash resistance compared to traditional body-on-frame vehicles. The car's low center of gravity improved handling and reduced the risk of rollovers. Additionally, Nash paid close attention to braking performance, steering response, and overall vehicle balance, factors that directly contributed to accident avoidance, even if they were not marketed as such at the time. Despite its many strengths, the Nash Ambassador faced a difficult challenge in the marketplace. The early 1950s marked the beginning of an era where automotive success was increasingly driven by image, annual styling changes, and emotional appeal. General Motors perfected the art of planned obsolescence, introducing dramatic visual updates each year to entice buyers into frequent upgrades. In contrast, Nash emphasized timeless design and mechanical consistency, which, while admirable, made its cars appear less exciting to a public captivated by tail fins, chrome, and bold visual statements. Brand perception also played a significant role. Nash, though respected, lacked the prestige of Cadillac or Lincoln and the mass-market appeal of Chevrolet or Ford. The Ambassador occupied a challenging middle ground, priced and equipped like a luxury car, yet branded as a rational, engineering-focused alternative. For some buyers, this balance was precisely the appeal. For others, it made the Ambassador difficult to categorize and easier to overlook. Sales numbers reflected this reality. While the Nash Ambassador did not fail commercially, it never achieved the widespread recognition or cultural impact of its rivals. Many buyers who might have appreciated its qualities ultimately chose more fashionable or powerful alternatives. As a result, the Ambassador became a quiet presence on American roads, admired by owners but rarely celebrated by the broader automotive press. Over time, this relative obscurity contributed to the Nash Ambassador's disappearance from popular memory. As Nash merged with Hudson to form American Motors Corporation in the mid-1950s, the company's identity shifted, and earlier models faded into history. The Ambassador name would continue, but the unique character of the early 1950s versions, especially the 1951 model, became increasingly rare. Yet, for those who study automotive history closely, the Nash Ambassador 1951 stands as a remarkable example of what American luxury could have been if innovation and intelligence had remained the primary drivers of design. It was a car that valued substance over spectacle, engineering over excess, and long-term satisfaction over short-term excitement. In many ways, it anticipated modern automotive priorities decades before they became mainstream. Today, surviving examples of the Nash Ambassador 1951 are prized by collectors who appreciate its understated elegance and historical significance. These cars are reminders that not all great automobiles achieve fame in their own time. Some quietly redefine standards, influence future developments, and wait patiently to be rediscovered by those willing to look beyond the obvious. As the 1950s progressed, the Nash Ambassador 1951 quietly occupied a unique place in American automotive culture. While it rarely appeared in flashy advertisements or glamorous Hollywood productions, it became a familiar presence among professionals, engineers, doctors, architects, and business owners who valued rational design and long-term dependability. These owners often kept their cars longer than average, reinforcing the Ambassador's reputation as a vehicle built to last rather than impress momentarily. In many households, the Nash Ambassador was not replaced after 2 or 3 years but driven well into the next decade, accumulating miles with quiet dignity. This long ownership cycle, however, worked against Nash in an industry increasingly driven by rapid turnover. Competitors capitalized on emotional marketing, associating their vehicles with youth, power, and status. The Ambassador, by contrast, spoke the language of comfort, logic, and engineering discipline. Its buyers were loyal, but they were fewer in number, and they did not generate the kind of excitement that fueled aggressive expansion. As the decade advanced, this contrast became more pronounced, pushing Nash further into a niche position. When compared directly with its contemporaries, the Nash Ambassador 1951 revealed both its strengths and its vulnerabilities. Against Cadillac, it could not compete in terms of sheer prestige or V8 power. Cadillac represented aspiration and success in bold, unmistakable terms. The Ambassador instead offered an intellectual form of luxury, appealing to those who valued refinement over dominance. Against Buick and Chrysler, the Nash held its ground in ride comfort and interior quality but lacked the dramatic styling cues that increasingly defined the era. Against mid-priced competitors like Oldsmobile or Mercury, the Ambassador often surpassed them in build quality and ride sophistication, yet struggled to convey this advantage visually. Styling trends of the early 1950s moved rapidly toward ornamentation. Chrome strips multiplied, grilles grew larger and more aggressive, and rear ends began their evolution toward tail fins. The Nash Ambassador's smooth, integrated form began to appear restrained, even conservative, in comparison. What Nash intended as timeless design was increasingly perceived as understated to the point of invisibility. Ironically, this same restraint would later become one of the Ambassador's most admired qualities among collectors and historians. Inside the car, however, the Ambassador continued to deliver an experience that aged remarkably well. Owners consistently praised the quiet cabin, the effectiveness of the ventilation system, and the car's ability to remain comfortable over long distances. Road noise was minimal, body rattles were rare even after years of use, and mechanical failures were uncommon when proper maintenance was observed. These qualities built a deep trust between car and owner, reinforcing Nash's reputation for integrity rather than spectacle. As safety awareness slowly emerged in public discourse, the Ambassador's design choices gained new relevance. Its lower profile, balanced handling, and rigid structure offered tangible benefits that were not yet fully appreciated by the general market. While Nash did not market the car explicitly as a safety leader, its engineering philosophy aligned closely with principles that would later define the industry. In this sense, the Ambassador can be seen as a bridge between pre-war automotive thinking and the more analytical, safety-conscious approach that emerged decades later. The merger of Nash and Hudson in 1954 marked a turning point not only for the company but also for the Ambassador's legacy. American Motors Corporation was formed to survive in an industry dominated by massive corporations with immense resources. While the Ambassador name continued, the unique character of the early 1950s models became diluted as AMC pursued broader appeal and cost efficiencies. The 1951 Ambassador thus came to represent the final expression of Nash as an independent thinker, free to prioritize engineering ideals over market trends. As time passed, the Nash Ambassador faded from mainstream memory. Automotive history tended to celebrate extremes, the most powerful engines, the most radical designs, the most iconic brands. The Ambassador did not fit neatly into these categories. It was neither a performance icon nor a styling revolution. Instead, it was a synthesis of thoughtful decisions, each one modest on its own but powerful in combination. This made it difficult to mythologize, yet deeply rewarding to understand. In the collector world, interest in the Nash Ambassador 1951 grew slowly but steadily. Unlike highly sought-after muscle cars or flamboyant luxury models, the Ambassador appealed to a smaller, more specialized audience. Collectors who discovered it often did so through curiosity rather than nostalgia. They were drawn by its unibody construction, its aerodynamic efficiency, and its surprisingly modern driving feel. Restored examples revealed just how advanced the car had been, especially when compared to more celebrated vehicles of the same era. Driving a well-preserved Nash Ambassador today offers a revealing experience. The car feels solid and composed, its controls deliberate rather than vague. Acceleration is smooth and confident, if not aggressive. The suspension absorbs imperfections with grace, and the cabin remains a calm, insulated space even at speed. It does not demand attention, it earns appreciation gradually. This quality aligns closely with modern luxury ideals, where refinement and serenity often outweigh raw power or visual drama. The Ambassador's design philosophy also resonates with contemporary discussions about sustainability and efficiency. Nash's emphasis on aerodynamics, weight reduction, and long-term durability stands in contrast to the wasteful excess that defined much of mid-century automotive culture. In retrospect, the Ambassador appears almost prophetic, anticipating concerns that would only become mainstream many decades later. The story of the Nash Ambassador 1951 is ultimately a story about values. It reflects a moment when American automakers briefly explored a path rooted in engineering discipline and user-centered design, before market forces redirected the industry toward spectacle and constant reinvention. The Ambassador did not fail because it was inferior, it faded because it refused to shout in an increasingly noisy marketplace. Today, historians recognize the Ambassador as a quiet milestone in American automotive development. It represents a philosophy that prioritized how a car functioned over how it appeared, how it felt over how it was marketed. This makes it an invaluable case study for understanding alternative trajectories within automotive history, paths that were possible but ultimately abandoned. For enthusiasts willing to look beyond famous badges and dramatic silhouettes, the Nash Ambassador 1951 offers a deeply satisfying story. It is a reminder that innovation does not always announce itself loudly, and that true luxury can exist without excess. In an era obsessed with progress, the Ambassador proved that progress could be measured not only in horsepower or chrome, but in comfort, intelligence, and enduring quality. Though forgotten by many, the Nash Ambassador 1951 stands today as one of America's most thoughtful luxury cars of the post-war era. Its legacy lives quietly, preserved in garages, museums, and the memories of those who understand its significance. In rediscovering it, we gain a richer, more nuanced understanding of what American automotive excellence once meant, and what it still could mean.